The views and opinions expressed by the hosts do not necessarily state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect those of the hosts, the show, the management, and the network.
Right. Welcome, Mr. Villagonzalo. It's really an honor for me to have this virtual podcast with you. And obviously, a lot of people out there are actually looking forward to get to know you better, right? So,
Yes,
so let's
looking forward
let's
to it. Yeah.
that's good. That's good. So let's start the ball rolling. I'm sure there are a lot of things that you want to, share to everyone, right? For you've been here in Australia for how many years now? For 100 years now.
36 years altogether. Yeah, we came in
36
1980.
years. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. I think that's my
Yes,
age.
yes.
I'm feeling like that's my age now.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So, Mr. Walter, what was the most unforgettable experience or experiences that you want to share to all our global friends right now who's listening right now, even the recorded too? What was an unforgettable experience as a migrant in
Yes.
Australia?
Well, we came here in 1986 as skilled migrants, and we have maybe a similar experience to other skilled migrants coming to a new country. Most of us would be coming from a country where our skills are recognized, and we are, well, relatively in a good position in the society. When we decide we're going to move to another country for the sake of our children. So that's what we did, right? But
Mhm.
really, it wasn't that easy, and I'm sure the other migrants would be feeling the same way. Like, I didn't feel belonging. I didn't feel like I was appreciated. I felt I was
Good.
like second class citizen, right? So
Oh,
I mean, it would be different in my home country. I and coming to Australia, I didn't have a problem really getting a job. When I arrived after 2 months, I already got the job as a senior systems analyst for a major insurance company.
oh,
So
nice. It's good.
not a problem getting employed. And I also set up some small businesses, and I was active in the community. So in a way, you could say I was adjusted, but deep inside, I didn't feel like I was appreciated. I didn't feel belonging. Again, it's relative to how I felt in my own home country. So what happened was, after 12 years, I brought my family back to the Philippines. And one night at dinner, I said to our family, to our children, and we had five, that we were not coming back to Australia anymore. We're going to stay in the Philippines for good. That's how I felt, right? I
Oh,
felt that way. That's why I left. And I know of a lot of other Filipinos also came here as skilled migrants, and they gone back and stay there for good. So that's what happened to us. I told my kids that we were not coming back to Australia, but some of them were already grown up, and they were, with tears in their eyes, they were saying, "But Dad, we are Australians." So it is not easy to have that kind of situation. On one hand, we were feeling like we needed to go back to the Philippines, but on the other hand, we knew that our children were already adjusted. They were Australians. They feel like they're Australians, and they did not feel belonging in the Philippines. So
I
we had a
see.
problem. We said, "Oh,
Feel
what are we
comfortable.
going to do now? Yeah, what are we going to do? Should we stay because we're better off there, or we go back for the sake of our children?" And so after a lot of discussions, lots of prayers,
Mm.
we we decided we go back to Australia for the sake of our children. We were there for 10 months.
Oh,
So
wow. That's a long time
yeah,
already
so
for.
I have projects in the Philippines. I have business in the Philippines. So I really felt belonging. I really felt accomplished and appreciated. That I did not feel here in Australia. So we
I
came back.
see.
We came back for our children's sake, and well, that's I still have to face the issue of not feeling belonging to Australia.
Mm, mm,
So what I did was I volunteered. I started. I was already volunteering before we went back, but this time it was really that. I mean, it was something that I did to address the issue of not feeling belonging. And the more
okay.
I volunteered, the more I had uh, projects or more connection with the community, the more I felt belonging and the more
Mm,
I felt appreciated. So that's
mhm.
what I
I
did.
see.
Also, more of it, because I felt appreciated. I felt like part of the community already. So
Mm,
at one time, I mean, for 25 years, I was doing full time volunteering. It doesn't
mm,
mean that I was not doing work. I was still doing my consultancy work. I was driving the truck, but in terms of hours, full time work was actually what I did for the community,
mm.
right? So, and so most of my life in Australia, 36 years, I spent serving the community. 25 of it was full time. And as a result, I was getting several awards from volunteering awards. So they had Community Engagement Award. I was Citizen of the Year in the city
Wow,
of
it's good.
Windham. And that's
Very impressive.
first migrant or first non-white uh, Australian becoming a Citizen of the Year
Mhm.
in the city of Windham, which is the fastest growing city in Victoria, right? A big city. It's a multicultural city. So it was a recognition that I felt that was given, and it's like this is what you get from the community when you do something for the community, when you serve the community. You get more appreciated. So a lot of people don't feel belonging as well. But the more they don't feel belonging, the more they withdraw. And
Mm,
what I have learned is the more you connect, the more you engage, the more belonging you would feel, right?
that's good to know.
So
I was
that's
supposed to ask you that. I was supposed to ask you, what did you do if, like, at that certain point initially that you don't feel that you belong to the community? What are the steps that you've done? But you already answered my future question. You've read my mind already. But sir, just very curious about this, because I know a lot of migrants in different parts of the world who are watching right now, especially here in Australia. And it's not easy to migrate in a country that you feel that you're strange. It's new to you. It's a new culture, even
yes,
though Australia is one of the best countries that I've ever been to as well, because here there is it's multiculturally diversified, and you felt like, wow, the world is down under, right? But I'm
yes,
sure there are plenty of, or maybe a handful of people who are watching right now who are experiencing the same thing. Initially, they felt like they don't belong. In that word, you don't belong into a certain community. What made, in your own opinion, going back to the many years ago, what made you feel that you don't belong to a community? Because I know different people see things differently, right? And of course, because we have different cultures here in Australia, we might interpret something differently because we see things differently. It's like the frame, isn't it? So, in your
yeah.
own opinion, Sir Walter, if this is the question in general question, what made you feel that you don't belong to the community at that time?
Well, the reason for people not belonging, and that's what happened to me also, is that it's more internal. It's the way you feel. It's not because you are discriminated
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. That's not the reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because especially, well, at least my job was technical, so I I was treated according to the level of skills or knowledge that I have in the job. So I had no problem with that. But it's just that feeling that you're in a strange country and you're different country, and you don't feel like you're part of it. uh, it's not discrimination. It's something that you feel inside. Like as
It's
I've
your
said, I gave
interpretation.
up. Yeah, yeah. You feel like you go back home, then you're at home, you're at ease. Yeah,
Mm,
you can go around and um, like you're recognized for who you are, your
mhm.
background. But here
That's
in
right.
another country, that's nothing. It counts for nothing. What you
Yeah.
were, your background, your experience. I mean, look, I graduated from the Philippine Military Academy in Baguio
Oh,
City.
wow.
So I was in the military. So military graduates there would be treated like elite people, like uh, superstars or whatever. But that's how I feel in the Philippines. Like I
Status.
could go
Yeah.
to a government office and be able to access the talk to the boss, or doors are open. Yeah,
Yes.
but of course that's not it doesn't matter here. You're all the same, and we understand that, but it's just the feeling that you have when you're in a different country. As I've said,
Mm,
that was
mm.
12 years
Yeah.
after. It's just that
That's
the more I go back to the Philippines, because I had a business there, I go back and forth, and the more I go there, the more I feel accomplished, the more I like,
mm,
fish in the water.
mm.
You're at
That's
home.
good.
That's where
That's
you
good to know.
belong.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Good points, Mr. Walter, that you have actually discussed that sometimes it's all about how we feel, right? And as I've mentioned a while ago, many times that because we came from a different cultural background as well, and coming to Australia here, and we met a lot of people from again from different walks of life too. It's sometimes the feeling of not that you don't belong. Sometimes it's your own interpretation, isn't
That's
it?
right.
It's because we see things differently, as what I have mentioned a while ago. It's called we call it I call it the frame, right? And it
Yeah.
is very important that just to give heads up to those who are new into this country, or even wherever you are as a migrant, it is very important before you jump into conclusion, before it creates conflict. There is what we called what I do in my all of my workshops is that always think about NIC, NIC, narrate it or describe the situation. And at the back of your mind, letter I, NIC, right? Letter I is all about interpretation. Try to interpret that behavior that you have witnessed on letter N, as on narration or description. On letter I, interpret in two things. Let's say, for example, this person hasn't texted me for like 5 days, and it's really bizarre. He's been always texting back, but now he's not. So that is the description of the behavior. But then the interpretation would be try and think of two interpretations.
Mm.
Maybe he's on holiday, or maybe he's busy, things like that. And then letter
Yeah.
C, NIC, right? Nick, I said, always remember Nick. C is always clarify at the right time, perfect timing. Because if you don't do this perception checking, guys, for those who are tuning in right now, it that would create conflict. And this is actually applicable not just for the public servant, not just for someone who's at school, right? This is for everyone, whether you are at work or whatever you do, or even at home, in your relationship. Don't forget Nick, NIC, narrate, interpret, and clarify. And that's exactly what Mr. Walter Villagonzalo has done. Like, it wasn't about discrimination, because sometimes, again, we see things differently. And thank God that you never gave up, because you have a lot of capabilities and opportunities to do here in this country. That's why there's a reason why you migrated into this country. And look at you now for 36 years, Mr. Walter, right?
36 years.
You
Yes.
have you have you have done so much, and with your service itself is an enormous service, and I'm sure with all your awards, you deserve it very well, whatever you've done right now. And I'm sure the people that you have met from the beginning, from day one, they're very proud of you. And even I myself, who have only met you today, not even personally but just virtually, I'm so proud of you as a Filipino myself, guys. I'm proud to be Filipino, that like Mr. Walter here is really doing and doing it in action. What's his purpose in life? The power of purpose right now, exactly episode 5, which is he's been called to serve and empower community. And now I want to ask you something, Mr. Walter, because you've talked about service to the
Mm,
community, and I heard you are running for a public office. Is that correct?
that's right.
Right.
As I've said to a lot of people that have asked me to speak, you know, I'm not a talker, right? I don't have podcasts.
But you're doing that
I'm a
now.
doer. I'm a doer. I'm a doer.
Hmm.
So I do things. I see something wrong. I try to solve it. I try to find solutions. So I'm
Hmm.
not a talker. I'm a doer. I'm not an activist. I'm a reformer. And
Nice.
as a reformer, I need to get in and make some change myself. Otherwise, you're just talking about it and be in the streets and come up with their sign and things like that. I'd rather
Hmm.
and I go in and try to go in and do something about it, and that's what I did with in council in Windham Council, right? So
Hmm.
uh, I advocated for more support for the migrants and small businesses in the city of Windham.
That's
And
great.
I tried to talk to the council,
Hmm.
uh, attend meetings, and try to find ways council would be able to hear better what the problem was. But that was the situation, and I stood for council. I ran for council 5 times before I got elected. Yeah?
Hmm.
But it's not because I wanted to be a councillor. I know we needed change, and to be able to make the change, I had to go inside and change things. So
That's
that's
right.
what I did. So my advocacy then was migrant support and support for small businesses. That was those were the ones that I saw lacking in Windham then. So I got in, I became a councillor, and I held the portfolio of future focused economy,
Hmm.
and I updated change. It's not it as a counselor, you cannot make the changes yourself. You need to work with others. You need to negotiate with the other
Collaborate.
counselors.
Yeah.
You have to collaborate with the other counselors because you don't make decision yourself. You're just one out of 11. So you need to be able to work with them and get them to agree to what your advocacy is. And now I've already left council in 2020. I
Hmm.
I know I have achieved what I wanted to achieve. Now, I'm finished with council, and I've always been trying to find other or the next maybe leaders that I can mentor, I can help to
Hmm.
take over a succession plan, not just me. I'm finished. Council is a very uh, rewarding place to work in. So I'm happy with what I did, what I accomplished in council.
Hmm.
Happy with the council itself, the working environment,
That's
and
good.
then I see that there's still a lot of changes that needs to be done in the parliament, in the parliament. So instead of just talking about it, instead of being in the street and complain about the problem, I need to go in and make a difference inside, right? So I am not a politician. I'm not a politician. I'm a leader in the community. I've been trained as a leader, and I've led people in aboard the Navy ship, aboard when I was
Yeah.
in the government service in the Philippines, in the military as well, and even here in Australia. So I'm not a politician. I'm a leader. Now, a politician, the focus of the politician is the next election. The focus of a leader is the
Yeah.
next generation. The next
Correct.
generation. That's where I'm focused. So I'm looking at how the Filipino community and the migrant community.
Hmm.
In a few years, the migrants would be, or the newer migrants, right? I'm talking about the Asians and the uh, Southeast Asians.
Yeah.
We're going to be the majority, the Chinese.
Yeah.
So if the community, the new migrants are not active in the community, and in a few years we become the majority, what's
Hmm.
going to happen to our community? I'd like to see more migrants become more active citizens in our
Hmm.
community, and I have to be able to do that, to be able to identify and mentor and help others to step up. Then I have to show them that it can be done, because that's the problem with a lot of Filipinos and other migrants as well.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the forgotten middle. We're in the forgotten middle. We are not outstanding, but we're not also problematic, right? We're not problematic, but we stay in the middle. We don't get involved in the outside community. We are very active in our own community and we fight among ourselves. We take them to court, but we're not getting involved enough with the outside community. In contrast, that's what I have been doing for many years, not just in the Filipino community, but in the migrant community. I was in the Victorian Multicultural Commission, in
Mm-hmm.
the Regional Advisory Council. I represented the migrant community in many committees in government and in the local government. I was in the Ministerial Council for Volunteers, the Office of the Premier. So it's something that I have been involved, but I can see that there's a lot of potential in our community. And how do you get them to step up, to step up, to be able to be more active, to serve the community? This is a very, I mean, I've been to the US as well and in Europe, and I know that it's the best country to be in. So
Perfect.
I left it in 1998 and said, I'm not going back. I'm not coming back. And as you've said, there's a purpose while I'm back here, right?
That's
So
right.
that's the call to serve that you're saying. You put that title very well. That's, I mean, it's not because I want to earn more money, and you don't earn more money serving the community. Gave up your income as a senior systems analyst, and I had a company. It was consulting in IT. That's my expertise. But volunteer, that's a lot of work that needs to be done. But you have to have that, you need to feel belonging. You need to feel satisfied about doing these things in order to stay there. And I did
Yes.
stay for a long time. Yeah.
It's good to hear that from you. I love that the power of your passion, and in being of service to the community. Again, it's not all about monetary or anything like that, because money is secondary. But what you're showing right now is that you're telling the whole Australians, whether they're migrants, new migrants, or migrants who are already citizen in this country, you are telling everyone right now, why do you want to work for the Australian government or for the public service? Thank you so much for that, Mr. Walter Villagonzalo. And I would like to make a follow-up about that, Mr. Walter. I know that I felt that passion in you. Is there anything else that motivates you to work in the public service? And you said you've already done working in the council, right? and and now you are moving towards what you're running at the moment for a public service again, Mr. Walter.
Yep. So I'm a independent candidate for the Western Metropolitan Region. So that's the Legislative Council or the upper house
The upper
in the
house.
Philippines.
Nice.
That's still the Senate, sort of Senate. So
Wow.
all the
Whew.
western suburbs.
That's really
So
good to know.
see, there are 310,000 Filipinos in Australia.
Mhm.
70,000, more than 70,000 in Victoria. And we don't have anyone in parliament. Nobody's representing us. But that's what I'm saying. If we cannot do it now, then when are we going to do it?
That's
So
right.
if it's not me, who will do it? So I have to step up now. I'm already 69 years old. I want to retire as well, but I want to do this one last time to be able to
Yeah.
serve in that level. But
Wow.
create that pattern, create that model, so that next time others can follow as well.
That's really good, Mr. Walter. It's
Sure.
like I'm having goosebumps at this time. I'm not exaggerating. I felt that the power of purpose that you have right now, that you really want to do this, you want to step up, you want to start this so that others can also follow your footsteps, so that one day you will retire anyways, and someone out there who's listening right now, perhaps even the recorded, will be the next one who could follow your footsteps to continuously serve the community, the migrant community, whether they're new migrants or citizen of this country, to represent in the government of Australia. It's really good to know, and that's really, it makes sense that this is one of the most important thing for you right now, and that motivates you to really run even as independent candidate. Well done, Mr. Walter. Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, sir. Now,
So
sir, in
it is a big challenge to be an independent candidate. You don't have the resources of the major
Mhm.
parties. That's 500,000 voters that you have to reach, right?
Yeah,
So it is a big ask, but well, somebody has to do it, and
true.
I just feel like that's the purpose. I've been prepared. God prepared me for this type of work, so
That's right.
you just do it and trust.
Yeah,
If it's God's will,
it's a call of it's a call of duty. It's a calling for your service to expand more your horizon in serving not just this community but a wider view of
yeah.
community, isn't it? That's really
So
good to know.
the other thing also is like I was in the military for 16 years, and when President Marcos was kicked out of office, I
Yeah,
said to my wife, "Let's go to Australia and have a break, and just to wait until it settles down when we come back." We started. I mean, we liked being here, and we thought this is a good place to raise a family, so we stayed. Uh, so it's not like it's important that I mean at that time also I helped set up the Association of Skilled Migrants in Australia, and as I've said, that kind of feeling of not belonging was not just with me; it was all cultures, all the migrant community was feeling that way as well. There were a lot of issues that were raised in our organization. I was one of the organizers,
hmm,
so um, I know it's something that people or skilled migrants or migrants who come here are feeling, and I'm saying that there's a way to overcome it, and if I can overcome it, then others can as well, right? So,
beautiful.
but the other thing
True.
that I mentioned was the reason is that I want to see our younger generation become more active. We're part of this country now. It's our choice. It was our choice to come here. It was a choice to come back after 12 years and deciding to stay in the Philippines for good.
Mhm.
It was our choice to come back. To come back. Now it's our. We need to contribute back, to give back
That's
to the
right. Giving
community.
back.
And it's not always about what is the community or the Australian society doing to make me feel welcome. The question then is, what can I do for the community? Because the more you do something about for the community, the more you feel belonging, the more you feel recognized, the more you feel appreciated. It's also the other thing is, I got all of these awards. I was Citizen of the Year, and in the Philippines also, I was given the Presidential Award. That's Pamana ng Pilipino Award. Highest recognition given by the government of the Philippines to Filipinos overseas. I'm the only
Yeah.
one from Australia who got that this year. So it's a good
Wow.
recognition, but you don't do things because you want the award, right? You do
True.
things because it's the right thing to do. But it's important that you get the award also because getting or doing the service to the community. It's not a one person show, one man show, one woman show. It's the
True.
whole family that's affected. There were a
Mm.
lot of times when I have to skip dinner because I have to go somewhere and support an asylum seeker that needed support, and I have to
Wow.
leave dinner to do that. And I come home 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. That's sacrifice. But the family, although they did not say it, I know they were asking the questions. What about us? Who are these people you're trying to serve? You're not getting paid. I fell from a trailer supporting an asylum seeker family, and I was in hospital for 6 months, right? So hospital and also in crutches. So my family would be asking them, they did not tell me that, but I know they're asking, why are you doing this? You could be earning a lot of money as a computer specialist. Why are you doing this? Sacrificing all of this. But then when you get the award, when the community recognize what you've done, it's not just for yourself, it's for your family. That's part of it. Every volunteer that's out there serving the community, remember, there's a family behind that, and they
Correct.
need to be recognized as well. I have a very supportive wife, and I know,
Thank you.
being si Lisa. So, but
Hi, Lisa.
it's
Ma'am Lisa.
it's it's a sacrifice for her being the main breadwinner, and it's not a good thing to feel as a husband, man of the house, to surrender that responsibility to your wife.
Mm.
But they know that I'm doing this for the community, and the community appreciates it. Now, what else? That's the situation that I was feeling. So when,
Mm.
yeah, when I got the awards, it's my family was there, and they know that what I did was appreciated by the community, and that is important as well.
Yeah, very well said there, Mr. Walter. And it's good to know as a family, like your wife, your children as well, are very supportive of what you're doing. It doesn't matter if, you're not being paid perhaps of what you're doing, but it's all about the reward, after that. Well, that's why I've mentioned a while ago. It's you feel that sense of purpose and identity when you are serving the community, isn't it? And you're doing that. And, salute to you, Mr. Walter, because you
Thank
are
you.
doing unconditional, giving back this unconditional love to all the people in the community, especially the migrants who wants to be part of this community, who wants to be part of this country, who wants to feel that they belong. And thank you for representing them, Mr. Walter. For when is the election again? On the 26th of November, isn't it?
November 26th, but
That's right.
early voting starts in November 14th. So it's a big
November. Oh,
challenge.
15th.
It would be by
Okay.
a miracle that I'm going to win. But if it's God's plan for me, well, good.
Yeah.
If it's not, praise God.
That's right. There's always a reason for everything. If this is the right time, it's the right time. But the good thing about you is you never give up. Winners never quit. Remember that, right? So we always make sure that we keep going no matter what. Sacrifice a little success thereafter. Now, this question that I have whilst you were talking a
Mm.
while ago, I've just thought about this. You just need to maybe say yes or no, whatever. It's up to you. Do you think you would be? You have mentioned a while ago that if this will happen, if you win the office to serve the Australian government or in the public service, and you will be the first perhaps migrant like Filipino who's going to
Mm.
represent the migrant community, for example. Do you think you would be able to blend into the public service? And if it's a yes, what's the possible what's the skill set that do you strongly possess that would contribute better in the community to
Well,
prove
I
that
am
it's public
I'm
service.
a local candidate, so I've been here
Hmm.
36 years. I
Hmm.
know the issues that people have in our area in the western suburbs are issues that I faced for 36 years and my family is
Hmm.
facing. So there's a lot of candidates and even sitting MPs who members of parliament who do not live in this area. They're there because of factional reason. Because
Hmm.
these are safe seats and they could just blow in and they can become members of parliament. They come back and take some pictures when there's opening of some infrastructure or whatever. I live here, right? I live here. I
Hmm.
experience the same issues that the people here experience, and I'm passionate about finding solutions. I've said I'm not a talker. I'm a doer. I
Hmm.
am not an activist. I'm a reformist, and I have to get inside and make some changes. Getting into council is the same. I mean, for the first time, it's going to be the same
Yeah.
as was the same as I would feel when I get into parliament. But there's always that thing about comfort zone. If you don't, you will not feel comfortable getting into a new environment, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't do it, you go to your grave asking, should I have done it? But
Yeah.
you feel the purpose, you feel the call that you're going to be there to serve the community in whatever capacity. This is just
Hmm.
titles there, right? So to me,
That's
it's
right.
an opportunity to serve. It's an opportunity to serve. I know I'm going to
Definitely.
be uncomfortable. I'm not a debater. I'm not going to be talking too much in the parliament. So, but I'm there to see what is it. I know what are the issues, and I know I have some idea of how it's going to be done. But being in parliament, I'm going to have more access or access to more information, better
Mhm.
support there, and better access to the people who make the decision. So that's why if I want to get in, make a difference from within, make a reform and come back. I've done that in council, so I can do it also in parliament.
Definitely. Wow, that was really impressive, Mr. Walter Villagonzalo, guys. Villagonzalo, as I meant. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for that.
that's wrong spelling for me. I wrote it. I
I
was
know,
looking at it.
Walter Villagonzalo. Make sure it's letter Z, right? Correct, Mr. Walter?
It's Z, but that's a double A, so I made a mistake and typo.
That's
I
okay.
was not wearing
We're
the
only
glasses.
human. We're only human. Make sure it's well. I did the right thing, anyways. It's Villa
Yeah,
Gonzalo.
yeah.
It's only one A. Good job. I did it. Don't worry about that, sir. I'm sure they will figure that out. But really, I'm very proud of you, sir, that you were able to really discuss in your own little way who you are, getting to know you as a migrant. What have you experienced? What have you felt before when you've started here? And look at you now. For 36 years, you have come a long way, and a lot of people who knew you already are very proud of you and deeply humbled, and you are the type of winner who never gave up on anything, because only losers will quit, right? And really, you have shown to the whole world how brave you are as a as a servant, okay, and being called to serve no matter what. Even I'm the only Filipino here in this community perhaps that I'm serving. It doesn't really matter. I'm here for a purpose, and I'm here to serve unconditionally. And I would like to share this, Mr. Walter, that Kilila, sorry if I butchered your name, sorry about that. Kilila said, Walter Villagonzalo, you're an amazing human. Thank you so much. And she also
Yeah.
further mentioned that we of the Pacific Islander appreciate you, Walter, for all you do with their community. Well done. Thank you so much for that,
Thank you,
Kilila.
Karen.
And Christina here says, you are an inspirational, Walter. Your family and the Filipino community are so proud of you. Yay!
That's my
I'm very proud of you as
firstborn.
well, Mr. Walter Villagonzalo, because, I haven't met you in person, but just talking virtually, I am in the southeast area. You're in the west area, right? I feel like within the half an hour, I know a lot of you right now, and I felt that strong passion of serving the community without counting any cost. And I salute you for that, sir. And I really hope all of you guys are watching right now who especially live in the west area of Melbourne. Please don't forget on the 26th of November and also on the 14th, which is the early voting, right? Mr. Walter Villagonzalo. It's Villagonzalo.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and he's running as an independent candidate, and I'm pretty sure you will meet him um, many times in different parts of the West area in Melbourne, right, sir? If you have a gathering or whatever your activities you're going to do, I'm sure you'll meet Mr. Walter Villagonzalo. But Mr. Walter, I want also to ask you, because I'm sure this is also a common question to everyone. Okay, since they have gotten to know you now even better, not just as a person, but the future candidate, the future representative in the public service, representing the whole migrants in Victoria, Victoria or Australia. I call it Australia, anyways. Now, what do you think that you can tell the whole people in Australia right now that you are an ideal candidate, and again, bring up again the skills that you have right now, that you can be an
Well,
effective, efficient public servant in the
yeah.
future in this coming
As
26th
I said,
of November election.
yeah, as I've said before, I'm not a politician, so I'm not in there to be re-elected next term, right? That's not my purpose. I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to prove. I'm not running for myself. I'm running for the community. I know um, uh, it's a big challenge, not just for me but the community. Community is rallying behind me and supporting me in this campaign. So I thank them for that. But I know I am better prepared for this job. Nobody is really prepared to become a member of parliament, but I've done a lot of work in the community. I've served the community. I've worked in the council, so I know the main issues, and I know how it can be done. Whose role is it? Is it the local council or the state parliament or the federal government whose role it is? I know that. I know the governance issues. So preparation, that's it. The motivation, I have that motivation to serve and make a difference in the community. But the other thing is, I know that every one of us has the potential. It's not just me. The potential, the Filipino community, the migrant community, a lot of people in our community have the potential to serve and do something for Australia, for Victoria, for their cities. It's just the need to unleash that potential. And I'd like to show that it can be done. It can be done. And I'll just give it a start so that others can follow. And my next job would be to to see who else in the community can be mentored, can be identified, and just encourage them to step up. So we have that. So motivation, the background, the training, right? And I am a local candidate. I live here. I cannot be, no, there's not going to be as candidates in election who will be more passionate about the local issues than the candidates that live locally, because it affects whatever issue it is. It affects them. It affects their families. So I represent the council. I was in the council, so I know council has been doing a lot of work to address issues in the community. So I've been working with councils all over. It's not just Windham, but councils in the western suburbs. But that should be the case. They are doing a lot of evidence-based reports and studies, and that should be investigated. That should be uh, explored and see how it can be implemented. Of course, it has to be evidence-based, and the first priority would be the family, the individual, the family, and the community, and that's what I'm going to do. So I went to uh, give this another try. I stood for the same position in 2018, and I'd like to give it another try and see if the community would trust me and elect me as their representative to the parliament in Victoria, representing the Western Metropolitan Region. And I'm an independent, so I'm not beholden to any party mechanism, party policies. My boss is the community. My boss is the electorate or the community in the Western Metropolitan Region.
Very well said, Mr. Walter Villagonzalo. Ladies and gentlemen,
Those
I can feel that that there's a winning moment for you. Ooh, there's a wild win for you, Mr. Walter Villagonzalo. I'm so really blessed to and also very fortunate to have met you here, sir. And I wish you all the best as well, not just for the coming 26th of November and also the early voting date on the 14th of November, but for the coming years. Thank you so much for being such a, like an instrument for us migrants and even for those who are already migrant citizen in this country, that there is someone like you, Walter Villagonzalo, who is very passionate and very focused on what you're doing in the public service. It doesn't matter
me, are you
if
there?
you don't get paid or whatsoever, but you're doing this for the greater purpose in life, not just for you, but for the whole community. And for those in the western suburb as well, don't forget the name Walter Villagonzalo. All right, it's with only one A, as I've mentioned. Okay, and he is called to serve. And again, as I've mentioned a while ago, Mr. Walter, how does it feel to serve others? And look at Mr. Walter here, doing this for a long, long time. As I've mentioned a while ago, volunteering enhances an individual's overall sense of purpose and identity. And this is now in front of you, Mr. Walter Gonzalo is doing this in action, helping others make you feel very rewarded, again, fulfilled, and truly empowered. So I hope, guys, today you have been inspired by Mr. Walter Villagonzalo here. I just want to make sure also that please don't forget to visit my website, www.motivation.com. Again, that's www.motivationallead.com. Check out my variety of services. Again, I'm a life coach, I'm a team building facilitator, I'm a professional host, personal and also professional development facilitator, and of course, motivational speaker. So please reach out to me whenever through my website, and you can also watch all my YouTube videos. Once again, this YouTube Motivationally has been created to inspire you, motivate you, and create an impact. So thank you in advance for those who have just subscribed, and for those who have subscribed once again for the past few days. Thank you so much for, again, supporting my advocacy to continuously empower other people. So please, let's continue to inspire other people no matter what. Thank you so much, and salute to everyone. Thanks, Walter. Bye. Have a lovely day, everyone.